Yes, yes, yes. Granddaddy is coming. Granddaddy is coming. Glory belongs to God. Good morning. I am Granddaddy's Story. It is indeed a pleasure to be with you again today. And remember that all of Granddaddy's stories are true. And today we're going to talk about the water, the functions of God's water. You know that there's different minerals in our bodies, minerals in the ground, minerals in the water, minerals in the plants, minerals in humankind. Now, all the minerals that's in the soil that gets into our bodies for the benefit of our bodies. God designed it that way. Now we look at the water today. We're going to do an interview of Mr. Water. And the title of this interview is Travel On, Mr. Water. And I want you to know that the voices that you hear on this interview with Mr. Water are the voices of Granddaddy's Story. Now we look at the water that we need to sustain our physical lives. Plants, animals, all life needs water. And the different minerals. And it's said that the water, as it flows underground and above ground, over different stones and different rocks and different ores that's in the ground, that it picks up the minerals from the ground that we need. And we drink the water and we obtain and receive the different minerals. Now in the water there is calcium. We know there's calcium in the ground. In the water there's iron, there's zinc, magnesium, copper. The water is flowing over these different parts in the ground, in the earth. And God has orchestrated it so that the water will pick up the different minerals that we need to sustain our bodies. Now, you can look up all these different minerals and go forward in Granddaddy's Story and learn what these different minerals do for our bodies and how God has put it all in place that we could get what we need from that earth to sustain all life. Someone has said that they feel that the scientists somehow call people not to believe in God. I tend to disagree with that, because when the scientists do their analysis, the in-depth studies of the functions of the different minerals that's in the earth, and then we see how these different minerals are transported into plant life, into human life. Then we can see that how God orchestrated everything. So to me, the scientist has done all this research and these studies of the anatomy, the studies of plants and animals, and the different minerals that's in the soil, the different minerals that's in the water. And we see that these minerals that we need, iron, zinc, copper, etc., as you still do your own research, these minerals are even in the plant life, even in the fruit, even in the vegetables. How did that happen? Well, the roots of the plants, vegetables, etc., the trees, goes down into the soil, and it's not just living on the dirt, but it's accumulating that moisture that the ground it has because of the water flow. And as the roots of these different plants reach down into that water stream and draw up the water to supply the plant tissue, and then it gets on into the fruit and gets into the vegetable, your different minerals. So God put it all in place. Now this is Granddaddy's Story, and I say it to you The Granddaddy stories are true because they're based on God's great ability, God's great understanding of when He established the earth. Oh my Lord. He knew what it was going to take for mankind to be sustained. In these different minerals, today, the interview with Mr. Water is going to help us to have a better understanding of how everything in creation is connected. The earth got all the minerals in it. The water is the minerals and chemicals. There are good minerals, there are good chemicals. I'm not talking about man-made stuff, but I'm talking about the pure creation of our mighty God. And He is mindful of us. So in other words, He is conscious of us, and He have thought of us. Oh my Lord. So we can just talk about this great creator and the lover of our very souls, the lover of our very being. For in God we live, in Him we move, in Him we have our being. So today, I could talk a long time, but we want to interview Mr. Water, and it's called Travel On, Mr. Water. And this is Granddaddy's story. And I want you to hit that like button. I want you to subscribe. I want you to share, because we want the information to be spread abroad that all life is connected by God's order. Now we would get this interview going with Mr. Water, and I want you to just relax. I want you to glean, which means to gather from it, gather knowledge and information, and it can show you the greatness of God through what He has created. And it's all for you and me. That's what's so amazing. Yes, yes, yes. The interview with Mr. Water. Travel on, Mr. Water. That's what the interview will be about today. Travel on, Mr. Water. And we thank the Lord for Mr. Water. Yes. Mr. Water, yes, you are on the move. Travel on, Mr. Water, travel on. To say, move from one place to the next. You are full of power, a great ability to do wonders or affect strongly. Such vigor can be admired. You are awake as to rouse from inactivity. Now you are active with intensity, the increasing of strength. Your move shows like a mental mindset to perform your assigned duties on this planet called Earth, the terrestrial globe. I live here. For eons, it was as though you slept for an indefinite period. Thousands upon thousands of eons. But I was not lazy. You were covering a solid which God wanted to utilize. You know, put to use. I was not lazy. Then, which is next in time, you received a command, which is an order direct with authority, yet with care. For the word let was used, which is to say, without hindrance, allow or cause to flow, come out or to release. You were assigned a different holding place. You are to maintain something new called life. Mr. Water, yes? What was the words of the command? Well, God said, Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. I obeyed. The new home for the gathering together of the waters he calls seas. Mr. Water, yes? After your great move, God began to create this new thing called life. Travel on, Mr. Water. Travel on. Well, I trust that God was pleased with my move. Though I left great tracks on the landscape, such as canyons and caves, you know, a hollow place inside the earth. That's the name God gave to the dry land, earth. Mr. Water, yes, you were there when God spoke to the earth and said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and fruit trees yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself. The earth also obeyed, carrying out our yielding to the command. God is making this new thing called life. Mr. Water, yes, after your gathering together to this place called seas, what were your other assigned duties? Well, God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that have life. God created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind. God told all the creatures that live in me, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the sea. He trusts me to take care of them. Travel on, Mr. Water. Travel on. God uses space that you left above the earth, called the open firmaments of heaven. He made the wings fowls after his kind to fly above the earth in the open firmaments of heaven. Mr. Water, yes, I hear your sign. Travel on, travel on. Now the earth received another command from God. Let the earth bring forth living creatures after his kind, the animals and everything that creepers upon the earth. The earth obeyed. Travel on, Mr. Water, travel on. God made someone to have dominion over what he had made. Mr. Water, yes, what did he do? Well, he formed man from the dust of the ground in his own image and breathed into him life. Then, which is next in time, there was woman. But Mr. Water, yes, you are responsible for keeping life alive. God told the man and the woman, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth with others like unto themselves, by the reproduction ability that God placed in them. Having made of one blood all nations of men, for to dwell on the face of the earth. Mr. Water, yes, I stand in awe, a mixed feeling of reverence, fear, wonder, and praise of this majestic God. Travel on, Mr. Water, travel on. For you are responsible for keeping moisture in the ground so that the roots, plants may drink and transport liquid throughout the plant tissue, that they may grow and produce food. Travel on, Mr. Water, travel on. Without you, God's creation would not live. Sometimes the winged fowls visit me, the duck, pelican, swan, geese, crane, to name a few. Mr. Water, yes, you give drink to every beast of the field, to the wild donkeys that quench their thirst. Your springs are in the valley, which runs among the hills. Yes, 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 you are active with intensity. Well, in order to perform my assigned duties of keeping life alive, God, the master of all things, have me to flow from the sea and form rivers, streams, springs, lakes. Yet I make my journey back to the sea, travel on the ground, above ground, and through the air to service the terrestrial globe. Earth. Travel on, Mr. Water, travel on. You do such good work as you obey God's will and purpose, servicing the terrestrial globe. Mr. Water, yes, sometimes you are in the form of clouds, yet you come down as rain. God knows that you are needed by the earth in this form. Mr. Water, yes, you become ice, snow, mist, fall, sleet, dew, hail, and frost. Yet you are water, the glory of God. Mr. Water, yes, I'm enjoying this conversation. You are? Mr. Water, what is life? Well, that property of plants and animals which make it possible for them to take in food, get energy from it, grow, adapt themselves to their surroundings, and reproduce others after their kind. Travel on, Mr. Water. Keep circling the terrestrial globe. All life needs you. Speak more, Mr. Water. Well, I am the fluid surrounding the fetus in pregnancy. They call me the amniotic fluid. God has so honored me to keep life alive before it's even born. Travel on, Mr. Water. I will. I must keep life alive, joyfully, to the glory of God, to the glory of God. Mr. Water, yes, do you have a thought for us? Maybe cast your bread upon the water, for you shall find it after many days of living. You know, show kindness to others. God will be pleased. Travel on, Mr. Water. Travel on. All right. I must serve the terrestrial globe, Earth. Travel on, Mr. Water. Travel on. Well, that interview with Mr. Water was so inspiring. I feel the greatness of the Creator Himself. And we want everybody to know, and I often said this before, I want to serve notice on you. If you say you don't believe in God, then you stop breathing His air. You stop drinking His water. You stop eating His food. But I want to tell you, Mr. Water is a great, great asset and a necessity to all life. I am Granddaddy Story, and I want you to feel the presence of your Creator and know that He loves you with an everlasting love because He sent a representative in the earth to express to you the love that Father God has for us. And we will be doing other stories on video to enhance your existence in this terrestrial globe called Earth. Called Earth. It is beautiful. It's God's place that He placed us. And He made all the provisions that we need. And it's in the ground. But God have the method of giving us a wisdom and understanding and knowledge of how to retrieve it for our benefit. The ground is God's storage place, God's storehouse. Travel on, Mr. Water. And we want you to subscribe. We want you to like. We want you to share because we want your friends, neighbors, loved ones, everybody to know that the heavens itself declares the glory of God, the greatness of God. And the firmaments shows forth His handiwork. And you are His masterpiece. Yes, yes, yes. You is bringing everyone together, and you need to speak to yourself and say, I am God's masterpiece. He's mindful of me. Granddaddy Story, thank you for letting Granddaddy Story talk to you today. Have a pleasant day. Have a pleasant life. All creation is connected, and you are loved by God. Granddaddy Story.